Welcome back to the Florida Aviation Network. We're broadcasting today from the Aerospace Center for Excellence at the Lakeland Linder International Airport in Lakeland, Florida. And thank you for coming back. We have a number of great interviews and interesting people to talk to this week that we've already done and more to come. Today I'm joined by a trio of very famous people who I want to introduce you to, and these are the General Aviation Award winners, or some of the General Aviation Award winners from this year and from previous years. So on my immediate left is Mr. John Tenney, and he was selected as the National CFI, the CFI of the Year for the Orlando FSDO and the Southern Region of the FAA. Next to him is Mr. David Tinder, who was selected as the Fast Team Representative of the Year for Tampa FSDO and for the Southern Region. And on the far left of me is Mr. Bob Raskey. Bob is also on the Board of Directors for the Florida Aviation Network, very accomplished student pilot. Bob has got, what now, 26,000 hours or 20-some thousand hours, I think?
Give or take.
Give or take, yeah, a lot of hours. And Bob was selected last year as the National CFI of the Year, an industry and FAA award. So I'm surrounded by some very famous people, and I wanted to introduce them to you and help you to learn a little bit about them and learn a little bit more about the General Aviation Awards program. Let me just give you a brief overview. So there are three categories for General Aviation Awards. One is for CFI of the Year, which John just recently won, and Bob last year. One is for the FAST Team, the FAA Safety Team Representative of the Year. These are folks that assist the FAA FSDOs. And that the third category is for Aviation Maintenance Technician of the Year. So each year, folks who wish to apply in each of those categories submit their application to the FAA's FSDO, the Flight Standards District Office, the local office, if you will. They're evaluated, and from each of those three categories, one winner is selected. So 3 winners from each FSDO, and then those 3 winners go to the region, which looks at the winners from all the FSDO within their region, and from those, again, 3 winners are selected, one for CFI, one for FAST Team, and one for AMT, and then those regional winners are evaluated at the national level for the selection of the National CFI of the Year, the National FAST Team Representative of the Year, and the National AMT of the Year. So it's like a 3-tiered approach, very competitive. So when you win one of these at whatever level, you're the best of the best in that particular category and that level. So it's a prestigious thing, and we'll learn a little bit more about it, and Bob will tell us in a few minutes why he thinks it's important that people like you put in for the award, apply for the award in whatever category you see as appropriate. So let me start in the middle with David Tinder. David was selected, as I mentioned, by the Tampa FSDO as the Fast Team Representative of the Year, and then he was also selected as the Fast Team Representative of the Year by the Southern Region. So Fast Team representatives are civilians that work as a volunteer for the FAA Safety Program Manager to assist him or her with their duties of making aviation safer in their particular area. So David, your contribution to your right to become the Fast Team Rep of the Year included a lot of work that you did training aviation maintenance technicians, as I recall you told me.
Quite a bit, yeah. Had a great team, 41 techs and inspectors, 2 different air agency certs, 2 businesses, and we got it in the bag. Did a great thing for Southwest Florida's safety culture.
Very good. So Fast Team representatives are largely folks who work behind the scenes to help the FAA's Safety Program Manager put on safety programs for pilots as well as aviation maintenance technicians. And so the ones that we do see often are involved with pilot training, but in this case, David was very ineptly and totally involved with training aviation maintenance technicians, and that's where your background is, first in the Marine Corps and now in civilian world as an AMPIA, and also a student pilot, as I recall we talked about. Just so he's got several interests in aviation and the like. And right now he's the Vice President of Tech Ops at a Uncrewed Aerial Solutions Corporation, which I'm not sure I understand totally what that means. Prior to that, he was the Senior Production Manager and Quality Manager at an MRO in Tampa, Florida. But this new job is going to take you to Arizona, I understand, in a new location and a new job there, and I imagine you're excited about that.
Lots of great things in the works, yeah.
Good.
All good stuff.
And I'm just guessing, will you make yourself available to the fast team in Arizona when you get into the Phoenix area, Mesa area?
You guys know it. Look me up on the FAST directory. I'll be
Okay,
there.
good. And I'm sure you can contact the FAST Team program manager, and he or she will welcome your efforts and the like. I know one of the FAST Team reps there, so I'll connect you with that person if I can. So John Tenney, seated here, is the CFI of the Year for the Orlando FSDO and for the Southern region. And John, you've got a long career as a CFI, but I guess your desire to become a CFI started very early in your piloting career, like almost immediately, you told me.
While I was still working on my private, I said, I've got to do this. I could see that my instructor was being a better pilot because he was teaching others. I came from a teaching background, and I know that you never know anything as well as you think you know it until you try to teach it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key.
I wanted to teach, and I wanted to be a better pilot. I knew that being a CFI was the way to do that.
Good. So you went on, got your private pilot license, and then I imagine a commercial to follow that, commercial certificate.
Instrument in between. Yeah.
Instrument in between. That's the way I did it too, exactly. And then how soon did you start training for become a CFI?
Like, we're immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my private in '89. I got my CFI in '91.
Wow.
So it was pretty
Just
quick.
2 years.
Yeah.
Good. And an instrument rating in between there.
Yeah.
So that's good. And how many hours do you have now, John?
Believe it, I got a good number right now. 88.
88. So you can always tell pilots who are really unique about it. Just filled out my log, caught it up yesterday because I was coming here, and I knew Ron would ask me how many. So I've got 8,888 hours.
No, I was doing it for an insurance request from another company. But yeah, you're right.
That's good. That's good. So over 8,000 hours. That's wonderful. And of those, how many hours as a CFI roughly? Do you remember?
About 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah.
So you've spent over half the time in the right seat.
Or behind.
Or behind someone in a simulator.
Simulator, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You've done a lot of simulator training.
I do a lot of simulator training.
Now, your career as an instructor, John, you told me, is not flying Cessna 150s with the ab initio pilots anymore, or Cessna 172s. You
less and less. Yeah, I'm doing more of the advanced. Yeah, like with some like what you do with the Bonanzas, I do with the King Airs and the Pilatus. If somebody wants aircraft specific training, manufacturers approved school, I have a school in Orlando that does that, and we do it for several carriers and several private owners. We do their training.
And you find fulfillment and satisfaction in that?
Oh yeah, well, it makes them better pilots. It makes me a better pilot.
Yeah.
So yes, I do.
Good.
Very much.
I too am excited when I'm able to help someone improve their skill or be a little bit safer pilot or transition to a new airplane. That's just very fulfilling for me to help them to achieve that level.
And you meet people from everywhere.
Yeah, indeed. But John, way back when you first became an instructor, I imagine you did some ab initio training, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever? I suppose you've soloed a student pilot, right?
Oh yeah, a couple.
A couple?
Couple, 2, 3.
Any one particular one come to mind when I ask you about this?
Absolutely. This guy Jim, he had been having trouble with several flights. I'm trying to get you to solo. Please give me 3 good landings in a row so I can let you go. I know he wanted to solo. I had the scissors ready to cut his shirt, And finally, he gave me 3 good landings in a row, and I let him go, and I said, okay, do at least 3, then come pick me up.
3 touch and goes?
Yeah, because 2 touch and goes and a full stop.
Yeah.
Do 3 landings.
At least 3.
And back then, we used to get out of the plane and stand there by the runway 7, with the little sporties handheld, and talk to the tower, let them know we were there. And he went around once, twice, third time he went down, and all of a sudden he gunned it up again and kept going. Like, why is he going around? That was fine. And he came around and he did the 4th one, and he gunned it and went around again. He did 5, 6. I said, Tower, can you ask him his intentions, please? And so he says he's having a good time, doesn't want to come down yet. He said, we'll come pick you up. And they came and picked me up in the little airport vehicle, took me to the base of the tower.
Oh, the ground ops people.
Yeah, the ground ops people picked me up, and I was waiting there, and he taxied in after his 23rd landing.
23rd landing. Wow. So he did 22 touch and goes and one final full stop landing.
I think an hour and a half is a record for my first solo.
Yeah, so you really inspired this fellow, didn't you? So are you that way with each student you work with? You inspire them that much to greatness?
Well, yeah, I'm not the guy to ask, but when you and I fly, you can let me know.
Yeah, indeed. One of these days we're going to do that. John and I are neighbors, but we haven't been able to fly together yet. known each other for a long time. So, John, so you obviously applied for not FAST team, but the CFI of the year, filled out the application, did that, recognized there was going to be competition, but obviously you won. So what do you think, if you were going to tell other people what to include in their application, how do they go about positioning themselves to be the winner?
Well, the first thing is they go to generalaviationawards.com. That's the website. It's not the FSDO. There's actually generalaviationawards.com is where you download the package and you start filling it out. You need to get recommendation letters from people. I'm sure Bob will explain all this, but one thing I did is I talked to the previous winners. I said, what did you put in your application? I saw yours, I saw Bob's, I saw several people. I said, oh, okay, now I get the idea. And it's not just about being a great instructor. I think the board is looking for people who are committed to the industry, committed to safety. That means a big thing. If they see that you're active in the safety program, I've been a FAST team member for years. I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. So in your case for CFI of the year, it's not just teaching, but it's giving back to the pilot community in other ways, in promoting safety and the like.
It's like when you introduced Bob, he said 26,000 hours as a student. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Because we're all students.
We're all student
Every
pilots.
morning I wake up and I know I'm a student pilot. I have not learned everything there is to learn yet.
Indeed,
Not
indeed.
long term.
And if there ever is a point where you think you've learned everything, probably that's a good time to hang up your spurs. Indeed. All right, well, good. Well, thanks for that insight. And David, so you also filled out an application and went through pretty stiff competition with other FAST team representatives from the Tampa FSDO and elsewhere throughout the southern region of the FAA. What do you think is important that someone considers when they're building their application for FAST team rep?
That's a great question. Mine was actually completely organic. I didn't apply myself. Somebody else applied for
nice.
me. And my FSDO, employer at the time, and a bunch of other people kicked in. So thanks a lot, everybody.
Well,
That's a great
good.
honor.
That is a great honor. Somebody did the work for you. But from that document that was produced by some good friend of yours, friends of yours, what do you think of your qualifications may have set you aside or set you apart from other participants or applicants?
Well, I think I'm known as a solutions guy in my industry peer circle, and I'm always there to help them. So they kind of stepped up and helped me out on this one. Guys from the private military contracting field, MRO sector, UAS sector, you name it.
Very good. And so your role has been both in the Marine Corps when you served as a military person, and in your previous job, you were a leader of teams or of people. Is that correct?
Quite a few.
Yeah, indeed. And so I believe you said someone convinced you to write a book on leadership skills and training. Is that true? And that's coming out soon?
Yeah, it's the proposal hits April 15th. It's all about bridging generational divides between leaders, because I think we're all leaders in our own right. We just have to build the right teams. So it's good
And the
stuff.
book will be called
Horizon Leaders.
Horizon Leaders, and it'll be published before too long, we hope. Well, that's good. Well, that's congratulations. It's takes quite a bit to be published, and that's wonderful. I'm sure we'll get a lot of good insights from you on how to be better leaders in whatever we do. Well, Bob, it's been a year since you sat at this table and I interviewed you and your lovely wife Karen, and we talked about your recent selection as the FAA Industry CFI of the Year National Award. Pretty big award, and you went on to Oshkosh to receive your award from the FAA Administrator, and it's been a wonderful year for you, I imagine. Has anybody recognized you any differently as now as the CFI of the Year?
In fact, no, which
No?
is what I actually like.
Good.
They know they got the award, but it's also the concept of being humble and being recognized isn't a normal way, right? So people would say, "Hey, congrats on that," and I'm humble back and say, "Hey, man, I think it's a good thing." So that's the beauty of that.
Yeah, and indeed you are a humble man, Bob. I've known you for a number of years, and that's one of the many things that I admire about you is your humility. You've got a million hours of flight time, and you've got a career in the military and in the airlines and in private business and the like. You've got so many accomplishments, but you're just plain old Bob to most of us who know you. So why is it then, do you think, Bob, that someone like me or John or David or someone that's listening today why should they put in for one of these awards to get the recognition, even if they are a humble person like you are? What's in it for them? Why is it good for our industry?
Well, that's a good point. There's a commonality between here of the fact that we've been around for quite a while, teaching, doing, leading, and it took me years. I was always funding, making the plaques for the awards program. I love being the backdrop and supporting that. And then last year, somebody said, aren't you putting in for that? I go, well, no, because I didn't think about it. I was supporting everybody else. And everybody here just had mentioned that for quite a while. You've been around for a while, right? And so your actions and the things you've done over time have really made a difference because people see you as leaders. And they go, well, they see the backgrounds. And why is that important? I think in most part to apply is one of the greatest, I would say, near decades of aviation growth again, right? We are going like this. We're merging with space. We're merging with a lot of things out there, AI and the flight deck upgrades, drones, So in that progress here, I think for the GA Awards, what's nice is that, why I like to promote it is the fact that anybody out there rising as a generational student, whether from a high school, thinking about being a pilot, and as you grow up and hit that opportunity where now you're a flight instructor, it's good because one thing to apply for it, it allows you to see who you are, where you are. It allows others to kind of notice that you're out there and these are things you're doing, and it makes a difference for those around that see that. When they read up or see the backgrounds and bios and stuff, it's not because any one of us are going, hey, look at me. It's like, I really enjoyed what I did. It paid off in many different ways. And for each of us, or the students we've trained over time, and the FAST team and everything that you've done over time, and safety products and like that, it's encouraging. So I think the GAA Awards, which I totally advocate for people to apply because even like us, we're the ones that we didn't apply for quite a while and we're nominated. So if you look in the program, GA Awards, you analyze who you are and what you are. Sometimes also it's a bit of a motivator for those out there and say, wow, I see what's going on out there. It makes them want to do a little bit more, to be more, to instruct more, to mentor more. And I think it's a big part of that process for those out there. Is I'm encouraging anybody out there from these three categories, the FAST team, Flight Instructor of the Year, CFI of the Year.
AMT.
Yep, AMT, Maintenance of the Year. Those are all great categories. Everybody's involved out there. And it speaks to the beginning, the middle, to where people are, all age groups. And I think it's encouraging. So, it makes a
Excellent.
difference.
Well, I hope what Bob said inspires you who are listening today to consider applying for one of the GA Awards. The GA Awards have been around for, 30 or 40 years, maybe longer. There's each year they select 3 at the national level, but below that, at the FSDO level and at the regional level, are winners as well. And it is a sense of accomplishment, whether or not you tout it as, hey, look at me, or if you're more humble like probably most of the winners are. It is a milestone in your professional career that you can say to yourself, hey, I have achieved this milestone. I'm proud of what I did, and I'm just sharing what I did, not necessarily boasting, but sharing what I did, and being evaluated against peers to see who has contributed the most. And I think it's a great way of doing that. So this is wonderful. So back to the personalities that we're talking with here. Bob Raskey on the far end there, a lifetime of aviation, working with the Army, working with the Guard, now a pilot for a major airline, also aviation businesses and the like. His whole family is involved with aviation. His wife is a pilot with a major airline as well. 2 of his daughters are pilots, and David, you're a student pilot as well as a leader among AMTs, so that's a wonderful thing to accomplishments for you, and I wish you the best in your move to Arizona and getting involved with the FAST team there. And John, you've obviously learned that to be able to know something really well, you have to be able to teach it. And if you teach it, you're gonna know it better probably than most anyone would be able to. And so, John, I know you need to get out to the airport pretty soon because Jim is still doing his 3,000th.
He's out there,
yeah, somewhere.
Still going
So
around.
we probably want to get there and welcome him back to terra firma. So, well,
One thing you said and one thing Bob said is the satisfaction you get when somebody goes, oh, I get it.
I get it.
It's such a great thing when they, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They'd learned something.
Indeed. So, indeed, that is very good satisfaction. I'm sure you found that in your leadership roles, David, the satisfaction of helping someone advance or to get a new technique and the like. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure visiting with you this morning. The GA award winners from the Orlando FSDO, the Tampa FSDO, and the Southern Region, and a prior National CFI of the Year, Bob Raskey. Thank you very much for being with us. I'm Ron Timmermans for the Florida Aviation Network. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned because there's more interesting interviews with pilot personalities to come up on Florida Aviation Network. Stay tuned in.